Crude oil is primarily valued as a combustible fuel, the liquid that flows through gasoline pumps to power the world's internal combustion engines. This network of petrochemical connections reveals its identity as a structural material, the molecular architecture for over 6,000 products. Categories range from medical to household goods, providing polymers for banknotes, contact lenses, and blister packs for life-saving pharmaceuticals. To maintain this manufacturing output, the world consumes roughly 100 million barrels of this resource every single day. Even as the power grid shifts toward renewable sources, the physical demand for oil remains high. Modern industrial agriculture still requires petrochemical nitrogen fertilizers to produce the global food supply. Because modern civilization is physically constructed from these specific molecules, the nations that control the source of that carbon exert a disproportionate influence over the global economy. The physical epicenter of this global resource is the Persian Gulf, a shallow basin shared by Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates. While oil exists globally, this map shows a massive localized spike. This single choke point holds over 50% of the world's known supply. To the west, the Red Sea sits in an identical climate, yet its data profile is virtually empty of significant reserves. The difference is geological age. The Red Sea is a young tectonic rift that lacks the necessary layers of ancient marine sediment required for large-scale oil formation. The Persian Gulf Basin, however, contains almost all of the planet's supergiant fields, uniquely massive accumulations like Saudi Arabia's Ghawar field that exist almost nowhere else on Earth. This extreme concentration is not a political accident. It is the result of a highly specific, ancient geological lottery. During the Mesozoic era, a prehistoric superocean known as the Tethys Sea stretched across the space between the massive landmasses of Laurasia and Gondwana. This warm superocean triggered massive plankton blooms in the Cretaceous period, while intense volcanic activity provided a constant flow of nutrients to fertilize this marine life. Dead organisms drifted to the seafloor and were buried under sediment. Tectonic sinking trapped them without oxygen. Later, colliding landmasses compressed the seafloor. This pressure cooked the matter into liquid hydrocarbons, while salt formed a seal, trapping the oil. The immense geopolitical leverage of the modern Middle East is effectively fueled by the compressed and cooked remains of this extinct prehistoric ocean. In the early 20th century, the Gulf states were home to autonomous, small-scale economies that relied entirely on traditional pearling, fishing, and regional trade. The turning point came with the aggressive search for hydrocarbons. Prospectors struck commercial oil in Persia in 1908 and here in Bahrain in 1932. An industrial boom followed. International companies brought in capital and infrastructure, erecting towering derricks across the desert to reach the massive reservoirs discovered in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. The arrival of oil revenue overrode the previous coastal landscape. Planned urban grids and wide highways began to replace simple villages as modern city construction accelerated. This influx of wealth created the rentier state model. Governments used oil revenues rather than domestic taxes to fund generous welfare systems, trading subsidized housing and healthcare for long-term political stability. However, this model creates an extreme dependence on global oil price fluctuations. It has forced these nations into a race to diversify their economies before global demand for fossil fuels begins to shift. While these nations build toward a post-oil future, their modern skylines and global leverage remain permanently anchored to the prehistoric legacy of the Tethys Sea.